Good morning. How is everybody today? It's Tuesday, December 27th. We're getting ready to start on this 2000 F-350. It's got a 7.3 diesel in it. We'll be pulling the cab off. We don't really have to for this job, but we have so many different things to do under the hood that it just makes it smarter to pull the cab, not to mention we're going to be pulling the oil pan on the engine, so that makes it better. So this truck is a 2000. I'm wondering if anybody can tell me what's different about this truck. It might be hard to see in the video here, but I'll try to get a good angle. Something going on here. It is very hard to see, and I apologize about that. The truck's black. Trying to get a good picture here of the truck. This is a 2000 F-350. But something's been changed on it. Doesn't look like a 2000. Get back here a little bit. Yeah, very hard to see. Let's try the side over here. Probably even be harder. Yeah, it's really dark over here. I don't have the best lighting in here. Probably going to take care of that when it warms up again, get some more lights up. Okay, so what we're going to be doing here first, while it's on this drive-on hoist, it's a 12,000 pound alignment style hoist. But I'm going to unhook the emergency brake cable just because it's easier on this hoist than doing it over where I'm going to be pulling the cab. And I'm also going to take out all the motor mount bolts except for I'm going to leave one on each side on there but loose so I can just take it off because I do have to raise the engine up to get the oil pan off, so we're going to prepare for that over here. This isn't really a tech tip, but one thing I might say, when you get ready to do a job this size, you know, it's really helpful to have a nice clean area to do it in so you're not getting it mixed up with other stuff. I just got done washing the floor here. It's a little bit wet yet. We've got the bench all cleaned off here. We do have some debris here that can't really help. It's another job that's piled up, and then some scrap metal and stuff. But it really helps to have a clean, organized area. So when you get into it, you're not a mess from the beginning, because we're going to be taking a lot apart on this truck over here. So anyway, I'm going to hoist it up, take care of the motor mounts, get the e-brake cable off, and then we'll get it positioned over here on this hoist. Which is my preferred hoist for removing the cab. I don't prefer to pick the truck up with this hoist. It's a 9,000 pound hoist, but the truck is probably over 7 by itself, and to me that's just pushing it a little bit. So anyway, we'll get going on this and then get the camera set up and then start pulling the cab on this thing. Okay, we've got the truck off of the drive-on rack now. We've got the bell housing cover down below, all unhooked except for where the starter goes. I've got 2 of the nuts out for the motor mounts, and then I've also got the other 2 loosened so I can take them out by hand. And then I've also got the emergency brake cable unhooked from the bracket down below and from the cable so that that goes up with the cab. Now, a couple things here. We've got the bolts out in the front. We're working on the passenger side right now, but the bolts on this side are a 24 millimeter head. I guess they, with the torque and whatever, centrifugal force, what have you. We've got one in the back here. It's a little bit hard to see, but there's one here in the back corner. And then we've also got one on the 4-door here. There's one right in here or so behind the back seat, or excuse me, behind the front seat. We've got the back seat out of it. That's right here on the tailgate. So there's a lot of room in here to work because we're going to have to pull the carpet a little bit. Now this side, the bolt head's a little bit smaller. It's a 21 millimeter. Now a little warning here. You can see this red stuff on the bolt here. If you can see that. That's Loctite. Okay? These go into a rubber mount. So what you want to do is use a ratchet or a breaker bar and a socket. Don't use your impact gun on these. It's just going to cause you grief. Now one thing that I do too, because I do this alone, is I put a jack underneath with the board up to the motor mount bolt there so that the bottom half stays in place. I lift up on it. Let me say we've got the ratchet in place right here. To pull these out. Now when you get done with these, you'll be sweating and you'll be tired, but you'll be grateful you didn't put a gun on them because they're tough enough already. And putting a gun on them, you know, I do it every now and then. I pull the trigger for a second or so. If it doesn't zip right out, then I get my ratchet out. Very few zip right out. So anyway, we're going to get these bolts out. There's 6 of them we're going after inside the cab, and then we're going to push this up or drive it up onto the hoist, get the hoist set on the cab, and then we'll get under the hood and we'll start unhooking everything and get ready to lift this cab off. Okay, we've got the cab bolts out, the 6 that are inside the cab. We also got underneath the right side of the truck here, about where your feet go, there's a little ground strap that goes from the body to the frame, a little 8 millimeter head bolt to take that out. So now we're getting ready to get the things off needed here to get the cab off. We're going to start by getting the belt off of it. We're going to pull the coolant recovery tank, get the fan off of it, the shroud off of it. At that point, I'm going to unbolt the air conditioning compressor and set it off to the side. Of course, the first thing we'll do here before we actually start is unhook the batteries. Right now I've got the coolant draining into a bucket under here. It looks pretty clean, so we're going to try to not knock a bunch of dirt into that. We'll use a paint filter when we go to put it back in to make sure we don't get any sediment in there, but it looks pretty clean. It's got a new water pump on it, so I would suspect the coolant was probably new then. It's got a new alternator on it. Not my favorite brand. I like Motorcraft on these. But you know, this works. So, but anyway, we're going to start peeling some stuff off. And then once I get those few things off, then I'll come back on and let you know. Okay, set it down there in the bottom, then we're going to take off the top couple nuts here on the fan shroud. Oops, thought I had the 8, grabbed the 10. These are 8 millimeter heads. Bolt was loose. Okay, now the fan shroud is loose. Set the bolts there. We got to take off the upper hose so that the shroud can go past it. See these pliers, they have kind of a special jaw that works good for those squeeze clamps. Just kind of tuck that back there out of the way. Now we're going to be able to lift the fan shroud out and kind of carry the fan up underneath it. so. And then we'll put these in the back of the truck so they're out of the way until it's time to put them back in. Okay, now we're going to take the belt off with a 1/2 inch ratchet. Put that on the tensioner to release the tension.